Hi, I'm Chike Coleman from the Wheelchair Watcher. That's Chuck Kaplinsky from the Illinois Times and the News Gazette. And this is Real Reviews, the Cinematic Underground, the show where we talk about movies and sometimes other stuff. This week, Chuck, is a momentous week. Oscar screeners are starting to flow. The Oscar movies are starting to hit the theaters. And we got some independent releases as well. I purposely brought us here to talk about three movies in particular. The first of which is a film that I was so floored by that I don't even know how to describe it to our viewers. It's Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. And I forget what the director's name is, but he's the same guy who directed Seven Psychopaths and In Bruges.
Martin McDonagh.
Martin McDonagh wrote and directed this film about a woman who goes through an unimaginable tragedy and how the police system in Ebbing, Missouri is unwilling to do anything. One day she's driving, passes three billboards, decides, you know what, I'm going to stoke the fire and try and get these cops to do something about this tragedy that occurred in my life. From there, the whole thing really escalates. We've got an excellent cast of Frances McDormand. We have Sam Rockwell, Peter Dinklage. Who am I missing here?
No one.
Woody Harrelson.
Oh,
yeah. It's a fantastic movie, not necessarily purported on revenge as much as it is going through grief and also trying to find your way through and get answers that you need. I will start first and say I absolutely love this film. The best kind of films for me are the films that you don't know what to expect at any point. And that's how I felt going through this film. The thing that I really loved about this film, other than Frances McDormand as the lead protagonist, is Sam Rockwell's performance as the deputy in the police department. My goodness, he was given such an arc that it's been a while since I've seen something that clearly stated and that well done in terms of how a person goes through a journey. I really love Frances McDormand because her character is blunt, she curses, she is a real human being with a lot of comedy thrown in that really sells her grief as well as her irritation. I really think that Woody Harrelson has a great dramatic turn here, but it doesn't quite beat his work in True Detective. And you really do feel for everything going on with his character. And Peter Dinklage is just straight out fun. Also blunt and dramatic in his turn as well. Chuck, what did you think of Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri?
I liked it. I didn't love it like everyone else seems to be loving it, but I liked it. I don't think it's fair of you to say that the police department there won't do anything. I think that the Harrelson character does a great job of expressing to McDormand the limitations of what they can do and what they have done and that they have just reached a dead end or two. I will say I did like the twist at the end of the first hour. I did not anticipate the exit of that character.
No.
That was an eye-opener. And then the fallout from that, I thought was wonderful. Last 45 minutes, the third act, I thought there was a couple plot holes I had some problems with, real problems with, actually. But second time I watched it, I enjoyed the ending more. The ending the first time left me wanting, and the second time I was like, yes, this is exactly what this story is all about. This is the only way it could really end.
Yeah.
So I hope people really are contemplative about that final scene because it says more than what you perhaps initially think it does.
Now, does the new or in this case, well, I can't say that because it's spoiled. Does the chief that succeeds Harrelson's character, did he do anything for you? Because he didn't really do anything for me.
No, but I mean, I wouldn't say it's a minor character, but it's a supporting role that, I don't really even think about. I think Dinklage was wasted.
Yeah, I agree.
He certainly didn't have enough scenes. I'm wondering if they shot some more in this, had to cut them. but I was left wanting more with him because he was an intriguing character, I thought.
So what do you think the strength of this film is? Because for me, it's the film's brightness.
I think the writing. I mean, the writing is just dead on. Harrelson has 2 extended monologues where we don't even see him. It plays like narration. And the writing and his delivery of that, I thought, was just incredibly genuine and sincere. I love that. And the dialogue throughout. It's pointed, it's witty. If this thing has a chance of winning any Oscars, I think it's screenplay. I think McDormand might win, but I don't think she deserved it. I'm not saying she gives a bad performance.
She doesn't.
I think it's kind of a one-note performance.
That I will give you.
I mean, angry, 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 angry. She's angry throughout the whole thing. And
Yeah.
I get it. I would imagine if I were her, I'd be angry too all the time. But in comparison to another performance that I think we're going to talk about in a few minutes, McDormand's great, but it's just a one-note thing.
Yeah. And for me, for me, there's 2 best scenes. The scene after the fallout of what happens to Woody Harrelson's character, but also the most confusing scene, but also to me the best scene is when the father of Frances McDormand's son comes into the picture for the very first time. And that interaction, it both made sense and completely confused me in the same breath. Can I tell you why?
I guess.
Basically, for me, the fact that the father comes in and the son's all excited and then he immediately goes to be his garish, possibly abusive self, that to me was a problem.
Why? That's what abusive people do. He's a horrible father.
Yeah, but there's a switch.
He's a horrible father.
But it was like the son idolized the father, and the second the father was abusive, he's like, oh, I've got to defend this.
Why wouldn't he?
I don't know.
Of course
It
he's
just
going to
felt
defend his mother.
it felt emotionally off kilter that you would go from, oh, daddy's here too. Okay, no, I got to step up and save mom now. Like he'd been practicing that for all his life. I don't know. That poignancy there was to maximum effect, and I really did love the film.
I have to say, the father's girlfriend, the very young girl,
Yeah.
I loved her. I loved her, and I love the fact that McDonough, just like Shakespeare does, whenever there's a character, you know, the fool in any of Shakespeare's plays, the fool is the one who can see the truth and tells you the truth, but no one pays attention to them because they're the fool. And she has the one line in the movie, and everyone's like, you know, you're an idiot, and they don't pay attention to her. And I love, she just sets it all out for him, and no one pays attention. I thought that was great.
So the second film I wanted to talk about is the debut directorial of a mumblecore star, Greta Gerwig, and that comes in the form of Lady Bird. Stars Saoirse Ronan, Laurie Metcalf, a guy I really love now, Tracy Letts, and it's basically a coming-of-age story of a woman named Christine Lady Bird, and I forget what her last name
McPherson.
is. McPherson. And how she navigates both would you say it's the end of high school? Because I feel like it starts in her junior year.
I think it's the end of high school because we're going to college.
Okay, so senior year of high school, navigating the senior year of high school. She has a friend whose name I'm going to forget. I called the friend a mildly derogatory name because I couldn't think of the person's actual name. I think it's Jenny. And how those two, and also Lady Bird herself, navigate the end of high school, where Lady Bird basically goes on a journey of self-discovery, and trying to understand what she wants and how she views the world within the small environment she comes from versus what her big dreams tell her she wants. This is a difficult film for me to review because I don't like the main character, but I love everyone surrounding her. I find the main character to be flaccid and kind of disappointingly outrageous in terms of the way she approaches
You haven't hung around many teenage girls, have you?
conversational situations. I haven't hung around teenage girls, and
Which in this day and age is probably a good thing.
yeah, example Roy Moore. Basically, for me, the main problem of this film is the lead character. I know I'm not the target demographic for this, but for me, I didn't find her relatable at all. I didn't find her interesting at all. I just found her pouty and whiny, but I loved everyone else around her. Everyone else around her, I believe, gives great performances, but I didn't get anything genuine from her until her final little line of script that she gives to her family. Other than that, she's finally learning that it's okay to be where she's from. And I guess that was the whole point. I don't know. Chuck, what am I missing about Lady Bird?
A lot. It's my favorite movie of the year.
Okay.
Favorite movie of the year. And again, in my other life, the thing that pays the bills is that I'm a middle school teacher. And I thought they caught the voice of teenage girls just right on the money. Mercurial, up one minute, down the next, uncertain of everything, awkward. I thought they just nailed all of that perfectly. This girl is striving to be, she's caught between being what she wants to be and what she thinks her mother wants her to be. And that is going to make you crazy. I thought it was an incredibly sincere performance, and I thought the writing was dead on. I mean, there are some heartbreaking moments in this movie. Her mother, played by Laurie Metcalf, and if she doesn't win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, it's a shame.
Yeah, I agree there.
She's right on the money. I mean, you know these people.
Yeah.
And I think the script has a chance for an Oscar too, because you know all these people. You've met all these people before in your life. You know, the dad who knows to just shut up when there's a fight going on and to let mom wear the pants. The mom who she's never pleased. It's always, oh, I've got to do everything. It's always someone's fault. No one's good enough. You know these people. Yeah. And I think that's what I loved about the script most. That scene late in the movie where Lady Bird is trying to apologize to her mother.
Yeah.
And her mother won't talk to her.
Yeah.
Was just stunning. Absolutely stunning. And Ronan just was, so desperate there. I thought it was just an incredibly human moment. And there's just human moments throughout. The dad, you say, Tracy Letts, I mean, he knows his role in this marriage is to just kind of stay to the side. But then when he steps to the fore a couple of times to save the girl or to be that comforting parent that her mother cannot be, is just wonderful.
Yeah. The classmates I like particularly well as well. I mean, you got the first boyfriend who
right.
while engaging and intellectually challenging, has struggles of his own that we see later. That there is that one touching scene where all is revealed after something major is revealed about
right.
that boyfriend. That scene is particularly poignant to me.
And her response was surprising to me and helped the poignancy of that. I thought she would let her anger get the better of her. And she didn't, because I think she sees in his confusion her own confusion.
That I bought.
She recognizes that. I was going to say something that just left my mind, as so many things do anymore. Oh yeah, there's not anything original in this movie.
No.
I mean, we've seen this story I don't know how many times, and yet I came away moved by it because it seems so human. And in my mind, that's some little miracle, because we always complain about the predictability of movies. And you could have predicted this one right down to the last shot.
Pretty much.
And yet, I was completely taken by it.
I mean, I can't say I don't like it, because I do, but I don't love it because I think I just got burned out by her exasperation. I think that's what truly really got me. Like, I laughed all throughout this movie. I found all of it massively relatable when you're going through those situations. But because, I've seen it so many times before, I may have not been cognizant enough to say, oh, you know what? That's an emotional moment there that I probably should have picked up on. There's some poignancy there that I missed. I think I was looking at it too closely to see how she would change or alter. And because I didn't see that transformation happening as quickly as I wanted, that's what ultimately led to my mild dislike of the film. And I put my hands up. I'm probably wrong. I don't think that this film is bad at all. I think there is some relevancy to it. I think if you took a 12 to 13-year-old girl to this film, she would see herself in Lady Bird, or see herself in one of the many other characters that frequent this film. My favorite moments involve the first, I don't want to call him a pastor, but whoever the acting teacher is. All the stuff with him is great. All the stuff with him or the head teacher teaching Ladybird is great. So there is a lot to love here. I just don't love it as much as you do. I don't know.
I didn't love 3 Billboards as much as you did.
So we have an even split now. So let's try and break that split with our final movie. You saw Star Wars: The Last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what you intro this one, because I got the first two.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi, more of the same. There you go.
Really? That's all you got?
That's all I should have. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Well, what do? We pick up with, what's her name? Rey?
Yeah.
Rey. Rey has found the Luke Skywalker on a remote planet, or a remote island somewhere on the planet. She wants him to come and teach her the ways of the Jedi. He's saying, no way, honey, I'm not leaving here. So that's one problem. Then we got the rebels. They're chased by the First Order now. They're no longer known as the Empire, the First Order. Always got the First Order on their ass, and they're always trying to get away, and they just can't seem to shake them. And then, of course, we got Poe Dameron, the Han Solo step-in, who is always acting impulsively and ends up heroic, but always by the skin of his teeth. The Kylo Ren is still kind of shaken up from killing his dad, Han Solo. Sorry if you didn't know that, and if you didn't, well, you've been living under a rock. And he doesn't quite know whether he belongs on the dark side or the light side of the Force. And then Finn, played by John Boyega, I don't really know why he's in the movie, because they give him very, very little to do.
Yeah, they kind of give him jack.
And I think that's a big problem with the film. There is too much going on, and all of it is incredibly familiar.
I don't even know where to begin with this, really, other than to say, if you're going into it for the visual spectacle, you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, visually it's great.
If you're doing anything else with it, you're going to see familiar story beats all over the place.
The knock on Force Awakens a couple years ago was that it was very similar, and in some ways they said a remake of The New Hope, the first film. And I think you can make certain correlations between this one and Empire Strikes Back.
You definitely can.
So I think that criticism is valid here as well.
There are small surprises, but there aren't many to be had.
Are there? Because when I got my notice to review the film, they said don't reveal any surprises, and I kept waiting for some surprises, and I wasn't surprised at all by anything. I mean, did I miss something? I mean, I know we're waiting on the parentage of one main character.
But didn't we get that, though?
Yeah, but was it a surprise? I mean, we're waiting for something big. And what do we get?
I mean, not much. But I don't...
I mean, that wasn't a surprise. Unless Obi-Wan was her grandfather or something, then you've got nothing.
I'm conflicted.
I know you are. You're always conflicted.
I'm conflicted.
If you ate more salad, you wouldn't be so conflicted. Oh, wait, I'm mixing things up. Go ahead.
I honestly... I got things that I didn't see coming, but it didn't floor me as much as I would have wanted to. I'm not going to say people aren't going to like this film.
They're going to love it.
They're going to love it, but...
I think part of the problem is that, and I was worried about this when it happened, when Disney got the rights to these films. They've got one planned now for one a year for the foreseeable future. When I was growing up back in the old days, you had to wait 3 years between Star Wars movies, and that gave them a sense of anticipation. They were truly special at that point. You really looked forward to them, and boy, the revelations were great. And I think that in having one now every year, that unique quality of them is wearing off. And in having one every year, I'm really starting to see the similarities in the plots here and seeing that there's very little derivation as to what these films do. So, familiarity breeds contempt, as they say, and I'm not contemptuous of these films yet. I don't want to get there, and I hope they shake things up.
I feel like with Episode 9, we both might be at that contempt stage if they don't do something truly spectacular.
There's one thing that better happen in that movie, or else I'm going to be really upset, and we'll talk later.
Yeah.
But have you noticed that the rebels in all these movies, and I should have realized this before, the rebels, all they do is turn things on and turn things off. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got a tractor beam they got to turn off. There's an antenna they need to turn on. Hey, that cannon, we need to turn that off. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And they do it 3 times in this movie. They're turning stuff on or turning stuff off.
I think there was one thing with the Millennium Falcon or one of the X-Wings where they did that with BB-8.
There was one of those, yeah. No, I mean, they got to turn on the antenna to get out, to get the signal.
Oh, and the bomb drop was one.
The bomb drop was one, and then also, yeah, we got to turn off the field thing at the beginning so we can drop the bomb. It's all about turning stuff on and off, man. That's all it is. I will say, though, I like the last half hour.
The last half hour, they do try and do something truly unique.
I thought, but I mean, there was other things within that last half hour. There's a great chase with Millennium Falcon through a crystal cave thing, and the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I was like, this is what I remember when I was 12 years old. That kind of breathless excitement. They captured that there, and I think they have one of the great lightsaber duels fights in this film.
Okay.
I thought that was great.
Now, I heard, before I, looked at it, humor was a big thing about this. How did you find it?
I tell you, the first 5 minutes, I thought I was watching a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Really?
I mean, because you know what I'm referring to. Oh, can't hear you. I'm just going to hold.
Yeah.
And that threw me, but I was like, okay, let's see where we go with this. I thought the humor was spotty, so I didn't mind it. I actually kind of liked it because I had a problem with the last Thor film, in which I think the humor overshadowed everything there. I thought it was a nice balance throughout. There's a nice little sequence with Chewbacca and those little furry, whatever we call them now.
I don't even know what those are.
I think they're called Poogs or Pogs or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cute.
It was like the new Ewok.
Yeah, new Ewok, but they didn't overdo it.
True.
The Ewoks, I was sick of them by the end of Return of the Jedi. These guys, if I see a little bit more, I'll be fine.
There's one thing that happened specifically that I thought was hilarious, and the fact that it kept happening made it funny for me. All I'll say is the nuns.
Yeah. And I will say a lot of familiar faces, and there was one familiar face I didn't expect to see, and I was sure glad he showed up.
I hope we're talking about the same person. Does it involve a forest?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm on the fence on this one. It's okay, but they need to start shaking things up, I think.
I went into it with the intention of just enjoying the visual spectacle, so I liked it a fair deal more than you. I have no idea what's coming up next beyond the fact that J.J. Abrams is directing 9, but I feel like that's going to be a snowfest.
Well, isn't Rian Johnson doing his own trilogy now?
He is, but it's going to have nothing to do with Skywalker family.
Well, but I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, the whole point of this trilogy is to give all these older characters graceful exits and go into a new thing. I mean, that's the whole point of this thing. Disney wants to make movies for the next 50 years with this franchise.
So there is something that happens in Episode 8 that I'm like, how are they going to address this in Episode 9? And that would be, we can't say, but something happens in real life that affects the
Yeah, of course.
So how will that safely be addressed, do you think?
I don't know. I don't think they can. I know the original plan was for Episode 7 to focus on Han Solo. Episode 8 was going to focus on Luke, and Episode 9 was supposed to focus on Leia. And with Fisher's passing, I don't know what they're going to do. But like I say, each episode was to give each character a graceful exit, so you can get all these new characters in. I'm sure they had to go almost completely back to the drawing board.
And I heard the new characters are only signed for those 3 films.
Well, sure. So, they can always re-sign them and get them back again. I mean, it's not like they're going to be short on money. I think they wrote a check for $52 billion for another movie studio this week. So, I think they're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even see the advantage of Disney buying Fox. What do you see the advantage of that?
Disney is slowly taking over the world, okay? And this is all part of it. I think it's the properties. I think it's also that Disney is going to start their own streaming service, I've heard, like Netflix. So they're acquiring content. I mean, if you're going to acquire 20th Century Fox and all the films they've ever made, all the television programs they've ever made, you've got a buttload of content that you can start hoarding for yourself, along with the Disney content, along with the Marvel content, all that stuff. They're just trying, it's kind of like the game Monopoly. They're just trying to hoard as much stuff as they can. And I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to do that before the FCC steps in, or the courts say, hey, wait a sec, yeah, you got too much. This is, we're starting to get in the era of, or the realm of a monopoly here, and we got to shake this up. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Any other movie news that you think is interesting that the audience should know?
James Franco is going to be Shel Silverstein. That's neat.
Seth Rogen's going to be
Walter Cronkite. That is, and that one surprised me more, obviously. This is obvious Oscar bait, but yeah, there was a movie, film announced earlier this week with Seth Rogen playing Walter Cronkite, and the film's going to take place in the CBS newsroom on the day that Kennedy is assassinated, which in and of itself sounds like an intriguing idea. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see him take this on. I think he can do it. I think they're going to need, I don't know who's directing the film, but they're going to need a strong director to get him through this. But I'm curious about it.
Okay. On my end, I can't think of a single show to recommend other than you saw the mid-season finale of The Flash, right?
Nope.
Oh, you haven't gotten there yet?
Well, I haven't gotten through the 4-part thing leading up to it.
Oh, geez, I haven't made it through that.
So, I mean, I figured I should watch all that before I got to that, or did I not need to do that?
I don't know, because I haven't gotten through it.
Okay, well. But did you watch the mid-season finale?
I heard enough things to know, unfortunately.
But you didn't watch it?
No.
Okay, then don't talk about it.
All right, fair enough.
If you didn't watch it, don't talk about it.
All right, so next week, what do you think people should see?
Darkest Hour, with Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill. That's coming to the Art Theater. I had the privilege of interviewing Gary Oldman a couple weeks ago.
Oh, geez.
And that interview will be in the News Gazette, as well as on CI Living on WCIA and the morning show next week. Very gracious man, obviously very talented man, very smart guy. So it was really fun to sit down and talk to him again. Let's see, what else is coming out? The film that I want to see most and haven't seen.
Don't say The Post. Is it The Post?
All the Money in the World, the one that, of course, Ridley Scott had to scramble to replace Kevin Spacey with. Really looking forward to that. The buzz on that has been incredible. And it's interesting, if you've seen the preview of All the Money in the World with Spacey, and now the new one with Christopher Plummer, you see that they are rebranding this film completely. The approach and tone of these two trailers couldn't be more different. And quite frankly, now I want to see it even more because of this new trailer. They're putting it more as a thriller than anything. So I'm very curious about that, and that's going to come out on Christmas Day.
Okay.
What's wrong with The Post?
I just don't want to see Meryl win again.
She won't.
That's what it is. I don't want to see Meryl
She
win again. Other than that, I think that's all the time we have for today. You can find Chuck's work at thenewsgazette.com or at theillinoistimes.com. You can find my work on YouTube for this show, Real Reviews of the Cinematic Underground. And until then, we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.